Hey guys, okay, I'm going to get straight into this video because this video about setting boundaries is linked directly to burnout, and I'm focusing specifically on teachers. So, if you are a teacher and you feel that you are close to burnout, burnout is dealing with like constant emotional and mental fatigue. It is different from stress. It is when you have mentally and emotionally checked out. So you actually don't care about your students anymore. You don't care about yourself. You're like just kind of going through the motions. You cannot seem to snap out of it, right? You cannot, like, every day is like this grind that is taking this incredible toll on you physically and emotionally. And stress is a little bit different because with stress you still have good days, and it's like sometimes like stress can be good for us because it motivates us to kind of keep going, whereas burnout is just like this constant, almost like depressive, emotional, physical fatigue that you cannot get out of. And I want to talk today specifically about why setting boundaries, both professionally and personally, are critical factors in pushing against burnout. Because what we always have to remember as a teacher is, and I know it's terrible, but like we are replaceable. Like, if something happens to us, they will find someone else to come in and do this class. And it's difficult sometimes to think that, but because that's the truth, we have to focus on us and our life. We have to remember that we wear more hats than just teacher. We are like sisters and brothers and uncles and moms and dads and daughters and sons and friends. Like, we have all these other hats, and those people deserve our time and attention as well. So today we're going to look at some examples of kind of the easier professional and personal boundaries that you can set. And if you want to know even more, I do have a link in the show notes to my Return to You workshop, a workbook about setting boundaries for teachers. There's a link to that. So you can always go and check that out. But let's get into it. All right. So number one, we're going to start off with professional. I've got all my notes here. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see me over here. And I just know with me, I, for years, like, did not set any boundaries professionally. I would always take work home. I was always focusing on my phone while my husband is like talking to me. And that is not what I want. I regret that a lot. And I would say that that was one of the best decisions I made, was not taking work home if I really didn't have to. So I started looking at, okay, I'm only maybe going to take work home on a Monday or something to that effect. And I started looking at, how am I teaching in terms of my return on investment? Like, do I need to be marking everything? Later on in life, I was like, no, I actually don't need to be marking everything. Could the students mark? Could I assess them in a different way? Could I create an oral? Could I do like peer discussion and then they have to present back? There are other ways, right? And just like ticking a rubric and then boom, it's marked. And like, here's your rubric and you need to stick it in your book. Done. And that marking happened like consistently as I'm, teaching. So I learned sort of different ways so that I wouldn't have to bring work home with me. And that was a major thing. Your to-do list is never going to be done. And for me, like, that included weekends as well. My mantra became, how can I make this as easy as possible? It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be done. And that is the thing. There are a lot of teachers who are like perfectionists. They feel like it has to be perfect. It has to be beautiful. It has to be amazing. And if you are okay doing that and you're not burning out, like, that's just kind of how you are and you do it naturally, go for it. Like, more power to you. That was not me. That was not me at all. And I would encourage you, if that's not you, like, just get it done to the bare essential that it has to be done. Next, I want to look at emails. I want to look at, are you answering emails at home? Are you answering WhatsApp messages? Put that stuff on, like, what do you call it? Like, archive it for 8 hours for the WhatsApp group, or for the emails, like, turn off your notifications. Do not answer emails after school. That is not in your contracted hours. And whatever you have to answer, my advice, like, when you get to school the next day, pull out your AI and boom, please answer this email in a kind and supportive tone. And then, like, just let it write your emails for you, because that, to me, is one of the smartest things you could be doing right now with AI, is getting it to help you write your emails. Now, a lot of teachers, they answer emails when they're at home. Don't. You have to set that boundary. I know you're going to have to do it the next day, but the fact is, like, you have to enjoy that time at home without worrying about the next day. The next day, you're just going to get done what you get done, right? You have your two, let's say you've got your two main things, you're going to tick things off, and you're just going to get that done. Okay, the next professional boundary I want to talk about setting is, how can you say no? Now, there are various scripts in my boundary setting workbook that you can check out, but I would look at, one of the ones that I often used is, number one, let me check my schedule and I will get back to you. Never commit right away. Always, let me just check my schedule and I'll get back to you, because that gives you a chance to sort of think about, is this something you can fit in? Or how are you going to have the discussion that you can't, right? And then going in and being like, look, I am at capacity right now. In order for me to do this, which I'm happy to do for you, I would have to take this off my plate. So we would have to figure out a way to sort of make that happen, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to give my best to this task without, sacrificing something else. So really getting the wording down and looking at different ways that you can say no to someone, or ask for, a partner to help you, or really look at, is there a roster? Because the fact of the matter is, there are teachers at your school who very easily say no. And they will be the last person that gets asked, because people know they're going to say no. Will anything happen about that? No, they will just, like, continue to say no and it will be fine. So you almost have to be like, is there a roster or something? Like, are all the teachers getting asked to do different things? Because also certain things are weighted differently. They come with more admin, more time requirements, right, than other things. So you could be like, well, I can't really commit to doing this because this is a massive job, but I'd be happy to help with this, and really go in and be like, okay, this is something I could do. But remember my original, right? Let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now, when you are setting this kind of boundary, you have to almost practice. So get your get your BFF with your teacher bestie, get your teacher bestie to ask you to do something, and then practice. How do you actually say, I can't commit to this right now, or I would need to, like, take this off my plate. Like, could we talk to the principal maybe and see how it could work? Because I'm just at capacity. It's not going to, it's not going to work. That is something I feel that no one gets taught this in teachers college. This is something, like, you have to learn how to do. And you can see it with other teachers who you work with, who are like your veteran teachers. They know exactly how to do it because they've practiced. So that is something I would encourage you to try and work towards setting that boundary, because in the end, again, remember, it's your life. This is about you, protecting your physical, emotional health. And it's something to, yeah, definitely think about. Okay. Lastly, for professional boundaries, is protecting your planning period like a guard dog. I like to say, like a guard dog. I know you have friends, like, if your best, like, teaching friend comes in, they want to talk to you, it's hard not to say, like, no, or, like, it's hard, sorry, to say, like, I can't talk to you right now. But you need to get with the idea that this is your time. And if you don't get this done in this time, you are going to have to take this home. So you need to have that phrasing that you can say like, oh my gosh, I love you. And I like, on a scale of 1 to 10, is this like super urgent? Because I really need to get this planning done so that, I don't have to take it home tonight. Is this something maybe we could talk about after school, or could I call you later and we could talk about it while, we're at home? Is that possible? And just asking, and normally the person will be like, yeah, yeah, of course, no problem, no problem. And I even have a teacher friend, she's got like noise canceling headphones, and the kids and other people know, like, if they see her with those noise canceling headphones, like, it needs to be an emergency if they're going to come in and talk to her, because they know, like, she's in the zone of work. Okay. So moving on to not professional, personal boundaries. Okay, personal boundaries are boundaries we have to set for ourselves at home so that we commit to spending that time with our family. And if it's just you and the fur babies, that's also family. You have to be, that's where your joy is coming in. You want to make that time as precious as, like, valuable jewels, okay? Because that is, those people are there for you. They're your safe space. They like love you and know you for who you are, and you want to enjoy that time. There should be no work talk whatsoever unless you are getting advice about a situation that's happening at work. There should be no just moaning about a situation, about anything that's outside of your control. It should be strictly more of a positive environment where you can focus on the wins of the day and what went well that day. If you want to start talking about what went great, everybody shares the wins. That's perfect, because that brings you into a better space, like mentally, which is always a great idea. Next is the exercise. Now, a lot of people are like, I don't have time for exercise. Can you afford to not have time for exercise, is what I'm saying. And I'm not asking you to go train for the comrades. I'm asking you to take a 10-minute walk and get some like light into your eyes. And like just appreciate the energy of nature. Can you do like a 10-minute yoga session at home? Can you walk to the shop to buy whatever you need to buy if it's not that much, instead of driving there? um, is there any way you can commit to just even incorporating a little bit of exercise? Because the fact is, with exercise, it is what makes you more energized. We're always like, oh, we're too tired to do exercise, without realizing that exercise actually will give you energy, right? You feel like more alive after doing some form of exercise. Even if you've just committed to 10 minutes, right? That is definitely something. For me, I know that changed a lot in terms of, how I was showing up for myself and how I wanted to show people around me how I show up. Like, and if you've got kids, it helps to motivate them to be more active. You're also active. You guys can do things together. So that is something that's a small change, and it's something I would encourage you to change, to incorporate into your day, or your week, right? The stuff at school, it can wait. Whatever gets done, gets done. Okay. That is how you have to think. Done is better than perfect. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be done. So if you have to leave a little bit of it and sort it out tomorrow, then whatever, like, you do what you have to do. Remember, the mantra is always, how can I make this as quick and easy as possible? How? Okay. Next, I want to talk about sleep. Now, I want you to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Are you making sleep a priority? Because if you are, binge watching Netflix or doom scrolling for an hour and a half before you go to bed, that is precious, valuable time that you have to recharge and refresh and like shut down. But all of that blue light and all of that information, especially if it's negative, or if you're watching like negative things on TV, it can impact sort of your brain and the way that you function the next day. So is sleeping something that you could look at as making a change, making, sort of shifting that habit a little bit, to go to bed maybe half an hour earlier, or to commit to only watching like one episode of something and then going to bed, and really starting to see sleep as a massive priority in your life. And yeah, I know me, I make sure, after researching about on sleep and how crucial it is just for like your brain to like function the next day, I would say, just try if you can, even if it's not every day, even on the weekends. Can you, well, I wouldn't even say just on the weekends, even in the, like, if there's days in the week that maybe you could try to get to bed a little bit earlier and see how it goes, right? Something to consider. Okay. And I would say the home is focus on doing something that brings you joy. Focus on something that you makes you laugh. Like if it's like dancing in your kitchen, or, I don't know, watching some cat videos, like taking that time, but something that brings you absolute joy. If it's playing with the kids or being silly, or like baking muffins, or, learn how to bake, like, I don't know, some health muffins for the next day. You need to prioritize that when you go home, even if it is just a little bit of time, just getting into that space. Like, this brings me joy. If it's like doing a puzzle and you spend like, 15 minutes on the puzzle or something, but try to sort of have that boundary for yourself where you're like, no, I'm not gonna, this work can wait. It can be done tomorrow. Like, how can I let AI help me do it again? I'm gonna keep bringing that up because honestly, it's like my personal assistant and I love it so much. But that is what I would say in terms of boundaries. Again, I've got the link down below to my boundary workbook, which you are more than welcome to check out. I just know that it can make a massive change in your life if you just start to prioritize you and recognize that your best is always good enough. Whatever gets done, gets done. This was my goal today, was to get this thing done. And I did. I always say, like, have at least two of your most important things in the morning of what you can get done, right? Stay calm, stay breathing, do your breath work, do the EFT tapping, do like everything that you need to really just stay calm and positive and happy in your day. And don't be afraid to reach out if you want to have a little bit of coaching with me, right? I coach teachers as well through a lot of things, like helping them reach their goals, helping them set these boundaries, live their best life. And I would love to hear from you. So yeah, just sending you so much love for the day. You are amazing. You are doing a great job. And I hope you tell yourself that every day, or just in case you haven't told yourself today, I'm going to tell you. All right. Have a good one.